What has it been like for you, your brother, and your sister, this new life, now being a part of those left behind without your mother?
It's incredibly difficult because I know there are so many things I wish I could have said, I wish I could show her, I wish I could do with her. And just going day to day, knowing that I will never get those kind of experiences again is incredibly difficult. I don't know. It's just it's just so I can't even put it into words. It's so depressing looking at pictures and thinking back on all the times that we had and knowing that I won't be able to have that again. Knowing that I'm gonna have to keep going through all the hardships that life has without the support of my mom. And that's the biggest challenge that I've had to deal with, knowing that I'm just not gonna have her support anymore, because she was my biggest supporter. She was always there, 100% of the time, day or night. I could call her and she'd be there. And now, I don't have that anymore.
If you could say anything about domestic violence, what would you say? I'm sure the first thing would be you never thought it would impact your family, but if you could say anything about it, now your family has become victims of this.
The thing I would say about it is, at least in my case, you don't realize it's there. I look back and with hindsight, of course it was there. But in the moment when I was living in that house, I was never aware of the kind of manipulative, controlling behavior that he enacted, not just on my mom, but on me and my brother and my sister. You don't recognize it, in my case, until it's too late.
And I hear that so much in so many cases, that it's that manipulative, controlling behavior that you often don't see, you often don't pay too much attention to, but then you come back and you say, wait, I remember this, or I remember this. But at that point, sadly, it's too late. But with you knowing that now, do you think that it kind of sparks your mind about domestic violence a little more, with you knowing that you've seen some of these signs just from experiencing one of these relationships?
Most definitely. I go about how I carry myself, how I approach others, how they approach me. I look at it all, and I can say it's most definitely changed how I go about my day-to-day life, just how I look at relationships in general.
What's your hope for other kids who are dealing with the same thing you're going through, even if just like kids like Noah and CJ who you were just watching?
My hope, firstly, is that I hope they don't experience it, but I hope that they find a way to move on. I hope that this doesn't impact them for the rest of their lives. I hope that they find a way to find happiness.
How are you finding a way to move on, and how are you finding a way to find happiness?
By spending time with people I love. There was few people that I loved as much as I love my mom. And it left a hole in my heart, but spending time with those who I know care about me and who will always support me, it helps.
If you could give a message to other women who may be going through domestic violence, who don't speak up, who haven't spoke up, what would you say to them, even if that's, look at me, I am one of those kids that's left behind now because of this? What would you say?
I would say, I don't know what I would say. I would say get out. I would say leave now, because it's not even just for your own safety, but there are so many people who care about you, and your safety is of a concern to them as well. It means a lot to be able to get out safely. And in my mom's case, she tried and it didn't happen, but you need to get out.
When you say she tried, did your mom ever try? Your mom did. She did file for divorce.
Correct.
I believe, was it that same week?
Mm-hmm. Yep, she filed for divorce that same week. And that's been sort of the theory that, he found out and he lost control, because that was always his big thing. He had to be in control, and he couldn't control my mom. She decided to leave, and instead of giving up the control, he takes it back and does something unspeakable.
And then takes his own life. What's next for you, your brother and your sister? Do you find that you all have gotten closer throughout this? Your sister was in the house when all of this happened. Has she talked to you all about that day?
She's not spoken with me about it, and I don't believe she's spoken in depth with anyone in our family about it. I feel almost uncomfortable speaking with her about it, because I can't even begin to imagine the things that she heard.
Because you know what it was like when you were downstairs that one day. But this was
infinitely worse. So I don't want to trigger anything from her. I don't want to bring it up too much, because she seems to be doing all right. I think it has brought us closer as a whole, because a lot of her family is either overseas or in a different state. It's sort of just me, my brother, my sister, my dad. And so something so impactful that happened in our lives, it's definitely brought us closer, because we know that we're all we got.
2 final questions. 1, if you could say anything to your mom right now, what would you say?
I would tell her all the great things that I've done since she's been gone. I didn't get to tell her about getting into college. I would tell her about all the friends that I have. I would tell her about the amazing relationship I'm in. I would tell her I'm okay, and that I am moving on, and I'm getting through it. I'm pushing through.
If you could say anything directly to your brother, your sister, or your biological dad, you decided to come and sit with me today. I know it was hard for you, and I really appreciate you, and I thank you. If you could say anything to them once this story airs that you possibly haven't said, you're more than welcome to look right at this camera and say those words to them.
If I could say anything to my brother or my dad or my sister, I would say, I love you, and I'm glad I have you in my life, because I don't know what I would do without you. And even if I tease my sister a little bit, or my brother, my dad, I love you with all of my heart, and I would do anything I could to help you. And I'm glad we have each other to go through this.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add that I didn't ask you, whether that's moving forward, whether that's about domestic violence, whether that's about your mom, anything?
I don't think so.
Have you started therapy?
I have, yes.
Your brother and your sister, do you know?
I'm not sure about my brother, but I do know my sister has, yeah.
Is it helping so far?
Yes, most definitely. It always helps to have someone because, I don't feel comfortable talking to my sister about it, someone who experienced it so closely. So it's so important to have someone that you can just completely open up to, especially a professional.
Why did you decide to speak with me today? I'd love to know. I appreciate it. But why did you still decide to speak with me?
Because I thought it was important. I thought it was important that my mom's story got told. And I think hopefully someone will see it and someone will react to it. Someone is going to make a change. Someone will recognize something in their relationship that isn't right. And they can make it out.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Byron, do you have any?
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.